Welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. You go downstairs as soon as you wake up. One more glance at the phone, but no news from Mia. You take the car down to Brooklyn, park on Front Street, and approach the meeting spot cautiously. A figure of mist, about Mia's size, is standing there, dressed as an oversized jacket and looking out toward Manhattan. As you approach, you can hear her muttering something. Is it true? But I do not think it is true. Or it true. If I do not think it true, then it cannot be true. And if it cannot be true, then... Are you the one who left the note? Are you the one who left the note at my apartment? The woman turns around. It's not Mia. Whoever it is, you have never seen her before. She looks perfectly plain and unmemorable. The ink on the paper did the message leave. The ink on the paper did your face here bring. You turn around. 3 men, all of them burly and threatening, approach you. One of them takes the lead. So, you got the message? I did? What now? Now you'll come with us. The boss wants to meet you. Who do I say here? It's not Kaiser. I guess I'll ask if it's Callahan. Callahan? That's Boss Callahan to you, fuckface. I suggest you get a move on. We've got places to be. The voice of the woman keeps creeping into your consciousness. The litany of gibberish ever present throughout this entire conversation. The man cracks his knuckles. Or we can do it the hard way. Agree to go with them. Yeah, okay, I'll go with you. Smart. They lead you down the pier and onto a motorboat. The engine starts. Put this on. He points to a cloth sack. One of the guys is holding you down. The woman is still there, whispering to herself. Somehow you hear her voice clearly in your head. It becomes a nagging suggestion to put the sack over your head. You don't really want to do it, but your hands go through the motions all the same. It takes 15 or so minutes to reach your destination. You think, oh, I didn't read that right. So, it takes 15 minutes or so to reach your destination, you think. Gotta remember those commas, people. The engine dies down, and you are led on shore, and then further up an incline and through some overgrowth. 10 more minutes of walking, maybe, until a deep voice reaches your ears. Vincent, my dear boy, why the hood over our guest's face? Well, boss, I thought... No, that will not do. How many times do I have to repeat myself, Vincent? You don't have to think. You have to listen and do what you're told. Yes? Yes, boss. Well, take the ridiculous sack off their head, will you? The hood comes off. The owner of the deep voice is a curious sight, dressed in what can only be described as Victorian clothing, with a monocle and graying red hair. Is this Callahan? Oh, the British accent would have gone perfect with him. My terrible British accent, that is. Apologies for Vincent's unacceptable behavior. I guess there we go. He can be a little thick sometimes. Isn't that right, Vincent? Yeah, boss. Sometimes. A little. I believe you already know who I am. Your boss Callahan. Your boss Callahan. Right you are, and I'm guessing you know my role in this city. I represent the Anarch movement. While you, I'm not quite sure what you represent. I have invited you here to find out. Now, let me make myself perfectly clear. I am disappointed in you, truly disappointed, but I arranged this meeting to allow you to make amends. First, though, I have to make sure you understand what your infraction was. So, do you know why you're here? Because I wanted to meet with Torque? Is it because I wanted to meet with Torque? Ah, yes. You're not stupid, so that's a nice change of pace. Torque is the reason you're here, or that angry little angry strumpet of his. I'm told, yes, Mia. Oh, how I'd love to get my hands on her gaunt neck and wring it until it breaks. But see, I'm a statesman, and that's not the prudent thing to do. No, indeed. The prudent thing to do is tolerate both her and that blasted ebony-skinned mentor of hers. You folk call yourself Afro-American, correct? Bah, back in my day we knew what being American meant, and it sure as hell didn't mean being black. Well, Callahan, you're a little racist, bro. Alright, what can we say here? Finished with your disgusting rant? Oh, fledgling, you have no idea who you're messing with. He looks at you with rage in his eyes, and you feel insignificant and vulnerable. An irrational fear takes over you. You cannot speak up against this man. You just can't. He's too terrifying. Now that I have your full attention, I will request something from you, and you will obey me to the letter. But that comes later. First, you will answer a few questions. The first of which is, who pointed you to Mia? Nobody. It was my idea. Oh, really? And what was your intention behind the meeting? I wanted to contact Torque. I had to go through Mia. Ah, yes, the so-called veteran loves to use petite girls to hide behind, I heard. That would check out. Why, what did you end up discussing? I wanted her to explain the Anarchs to me. I just wanted to learn about the Anarchs, so I asked her about the movement. Oh, child, you should have come to me then. I am the Anarch movement in New York City, and nobody makes a secret out of it. You bet on the wrong horse, as I'm sure you'll soon learn. See, that wasn't hard now, was it? Of course, I can't be sure how much of what you told me was true, and how much of it was worth about as much as yesternight's horse shit. That's a weird word, yesternight's. But I'll find out. I always do, and when I do, we'll have another one of these nice talks. And maybe, just maybe, you'll avoid this upcoming unpleasant episode next time. He gives Vince a sign, and the burly man starts hitting you all over. You feel teeth, ribs, and fingers break. Your foot is mangled under Vince's boot. Your shoulder dislocated. Your nose wrecked. That's enough, Vincent. Leave them be. He snaps his fingers in front of your face a few times and checks if you can focus on his face. You can, but barely. I am a man of principle. Another night, I would perhaps put you in a casket, dip it in concrete, and dump it in the Hudson. A favorite of mine during the Roaring '20s. Ah, it's been a while. But like I mentioned before, I am nothing but prudent, and so the interests of this city's kindred must come before my own needs and wants. I will therefore let you continue your existence. Here's what I require in return for this boon. You are forbidden to meet Torque. I will keep an eye on you, on him. If you want a place with the Anarchs, you go through me and only me. Got it? You have to understand, what I made my associates do to you tonight was just business. We can still work out a mutually beneficial relationship. In fact, it's either that or your final death. Time to go, Vincent. Take the boat back. Leave the fledgling here. I think they have a lot to think about. Sure thing, boss. Pleasure making your acquaintance. Callahan walks away, as do Vince and his band of thugs. You lie on the ground for a while longer, feeling the blood slowly putting your body back together, your hunger growing. You can hear the beasts calling, for sustenance, for safety, for revenge, a distant but pronounced third desire. It's not until you mend yourself enough to appear more as a mugging victim than an impossibly mangled walking cadaver that you hail a passing taxi, passing and head back to your haven. The whole way there, you're tempted by the beast. Your driver, a 30-something with a strong Slavic accent and an unpronounceable name on his ID, keeps asking if he should drive you to the hospital. You keep declining, all the while thinking that if you only asked him to pull over for 5 minutes, you could feast on his warm blood to the beast's content, drink him whole. Nobody would know. Nobody but his wife and kids, if he has them. Nobody but his boss and co-workers. Nobody but you, as you look in the mirror tomorrow. Keeping your hunger at bay was never before as difficult as it is tonight. The driver stops at your apartment building. There's nobody around. You can do it. Do it. Now. Now! We gotta resist it. We're not gonna go down that path. While I enjoy drinking, we're not going to give in. You pay the driver and walk out, fast. Leave the car behind. Don't look back. Look back. Walk back. Feed. No. Through the door. Up the stairs. Key in the lock. Open the apartment. Walk in. Lock yourself in. The familiar four walls of your haven are a blessing. The beast inside you keeps nagging, but you keep it at bay tonight. Not a small feat given your state. You are still weak. You're still not quite mended. You need to rest. Tomorrow you will have to feed again. Tomorrow you will have to consider your next move. Callahan is not the kind of man who quits, but tonight you rest. Oh, Sophie. What have you gotten us into, Sophie? You cunt. A piece of paper is sticking out of your mailbox. It's a computer printout, a note, and a screenshot from Google Maps. It reads, "Meet me at the indicated spot tomorrow at 10 p.m. I'll pick you up, and we'll take it from there." No signature. The place marked on the map is the lookout point near Pier 1, just next to the Brooklyn Bridge. You check the phone that Mia passed on to you. No new messages, no missed calls. It's all a bit fishy, but there's only one way to find out who addressed this to you. Looks like tomorrow evening has been planned out for you. Wow, they're not really giving me a choice to do these side quests, are they? I haven't beaten this game. This is gonna be intermission. All right, intermission. So I have had some of the game slightly spoiled for me, where someone said there's no way to do all choices in one playthrough. I don't quite agree with that, but I understand why, because replay value. So that doesn't bother me as much. What does kind of bother me right now is it's kind of shoehorning me down the main story quest, and there's a lot of side things I want to do, but I can't. That's a little annoying, and I understand I have to basically replay if I want to go over these things. So I guess my question is to anyone who watches these or is listening right now, would you want me to do a replay, a second playthrough of this? And we'll do totally different choices. We'll play a totally different character, different clan. And I was thinking of doing kind of an evil playthrough where we would give it to the beast, and I could see how far you could go if you wanted to be evil. So, and I still have to see the ending of this because I'm sure I get to choose something at the end of this. I get to make a choice of who I'm going to side with. So, you know, this game probably has a lot of replay value, so I probably will replay it. Anyways, back to this game, back to the vampires, let's go. Waking up tonight feels different for two reasons. For one, you are pleasantly surprised that your body mended reasonably well while you were resting. It comes with a caveat, though. Caveat? Is it caveat or caveat? Caveat. Caveat? Caveat. Caveat. That's how I'm going to say it. Oh, the hunger you feel is pronounced. The beast like a black dog on the edge of your vision, following you. What is truly remarkable is waking up to the tune of an old cell phone ringing. An unknown number is calling the phone you got from Mia. You pick up. Kept that old thing charged after all, huh? You alright? Cut to the chase. Is the meeting set up or not? What? Not a fan of small talk. Good, me neither. Calling with some news. Torque has agreed to meet you. There's a pub in the Bronx, solids and stripes. Be there tonight. 2 things. No drinking on the premises, so if you want to grab a snack, do it before setting foot in the borough. And this is an exclusively no powers meeting, where we'll be rubbing shoulders with commoners the whole evening. And also, we don't trust you, so keep it casual, or you'll blow it. Anything you'd like to add? Callahan forbade me from meeting to work. Yeah, I met Callahan yesterday. He kicked my ass and forbid me from meeting to work. I'm not sure I should be there tonight. Silence on the line. Fuck. More silence. I can't promise you any protection on your way there or back, but at the pub you'll be in Torque's domain. For all his posturing, Callahan doesn't have the balls to strike Torque directly. We'll post additional lookouts on watch. That's the best I can do. If Callahan got under your skin, I get it. I was in that spot once or twice too. All I've got to say is, the risk is worth it.
If you don't show tonight, I won't blame you. But it's a one-time offer only. You gotta hedge your bets. Just don't do anything stupid. You meet us tonight? It better be in good faith.
She ends the call. First things first, you take the subway to to York Street Station. I have been in New York only once, and let me tell you, the subway freaked me out because I was so afraid of getting lost on that thing. Walk from Front Street, retrieve your car, and weigh your options while driving back to your haven. Feeding opportunity, trust your intuition. Let's go. You've been doing this for a good few nights. You're getting a feel for it. You're learning what kind of predator you are and what kind of blood you crave. You're so caught up in yesterday's problems and in this cloak and dagger debacle, you're now a part of that. The hunt almost feels automatic and casual tonight. A fragment of you surrenders control. Just minutes after you find your victim, coax them, and drink from them, you find you've forgotten their face and how they were dressed. It only hits you once you look at yourself in the car's rearview mirror. This was wrong. You can't let this become the norm. You hurt somebody, a human being. You're a monster. You need to stay mindful of this. You're a monster. But unless you let yourself off the hook, you can hold onto your humanity and not let yourself slide down this spiral. Instead of clearing your mind, this clouded it further, and you are still no closer to a decision. Alright, let's drive around before going to the meeting. You do intend to visit Torque tonight, but you decide to drive around a bit first. Something tells you there might be somebody tailing you. It sounds sensible to try and lose them. You spend a good 2 hours looking in your rearview mirror and driving all over the city before finally driving to the Bronx. You take some basic precautions as you enter Torque's turf. You park a few streets over from where the pub is and walk towards it while keeping an eye out for anyone suspicious. That kindred, for the most part, look no different than regular people. Makes things complicated, of course. If you're being followed or watched, it's going to be hard to tell. You reach the pub, shoot a final glance around. There's nobody suspicious around as far as you can see, and open the door. The smell of cigarettes is overwhelming. The whole place has an aura about it, a constant fog hanging right under the ceiling. The lethargic fans do nothing to disperse it. Gosh darn it! The constant crack of billiard balls and clinking of glasses tells you all you need to know about the clientele. Not a very vampiric place at all. You're wondering if you got the address right. You apparently did. Mia's here. She motions you over to one of the few tables around.
Took your sweet time to get here. What, got cold feet? Never mind. Anyone follow you?
Not that I know of.
Fair enough. Before I introduce you, there's some outstanding business to discuss. You didn't prove very helpful at the bar. Carol, the bartender, mentioned that you made an effort, but as you can imagine, there's plenty of licks who use feminine pronouns in this city. Still, I'll take whatever I can get, so thanks for that, I guess. Come on, Torque's right there.
You walk toward one of the tables. A guy in a coat and hat leans over to take his shot. He's way ahead of his opponent. The table is clear of his balls, save for the 8-ball in a tricky position.
Hey there.
Or, why did I say that?
Hey, they're here.
Oh, Torque! You look smooth, boy! Look at Torque. I like you. Be with you in just a moment. The hit is fast, precise, and sends the black ball exactly where the player wanted it. His opponent lets out a frustrated sigh. That's it. I believe that's 150 American dollars, Joey. You want to pay up now or up the sticks again? The disgruntled man accepts his defeat and pays up, then declares he's going to grab another beer. To the victor goes the spoils. Thank you kindly. He turns his full attention to you. The man is good-looking, of somewhat gaunt and intense. His eyes especially seem to pierce right through your core, but not in an unpleasant way. Name's Torque. I believe you're Lamar, Sophie Langley's new plaything. Is that right? How does everybody always know that? You anarchs too? How does everybody always know that? World travels fast when you care to listen, fledgling. We wouldn't be talking tonight if I haven't learned that a long time ago. Forgive my being real with you right off the bat, but I like to know who it is I'm dealing with. So here's something that I've been scratching my head about. If you're with Langley and Langley's camp through and through, I'm told, what is it you've come to accomplish here tonight? Sophie wants to meet with you. Sophie Langley wants to meet with you. Don't ask why. She didn't tell me. She just said it has something to do with gathering allies against Boss Callahan. I'm here to arrange that meeting.
The fuck? I knew nothing about this. They lied to me.
Mia's furious. She's looking at the pool cue and at you as if she was figuring out the best combination for the two. It's fine. I appreciate the honesty, even if you weren't straight with my second in command. That I don't appreciate. Well. Ain't that an interesting proposition?
You can't be seriously thinking about meeting with Langley. She's hardline camp. It's a trap. It must be.
It just might be. It just might. He looks at you, pierces you with his unnaturally keen eyes. He's about to say something when a door opens at the back of the room. Hey, Torque, you got a guest. They're in the back. Mia, won't you be a dear and keep our new friend company? I'll see what the commotion is.
Sure thing.
Torque tips his hat to you and walks to the back, joining the man who called for him. Mia glowers at you, this time weighing one of the pool balls in her hand. She looks like she has a half mind to chuck it at your face.
You gotta be quite happy with yourself bluffing your way in here.
It's not just Sophie I'm here for. It might have started as a task from Sophie, but I'm glad I could meet you in Torque. Don't hold it against me.
No, I'm totally going to hold it against you, and for a while, you made me look like a chump in front of Torque. I was beginning to think you might make a good addition to our little family. There's a whole lot of trust you'll have to regain before that happens now.
Torque appears from a door at the back and calls across the room. Yo, Mia, can I grab you for a second? Lamar, get over here too. You go to the back room. It's basically a storage area with a single wooden desk. It's pretty cramped, especially considering there's 5 other people in there with you. Torque ushers you in and closes the door behind you and Mia. 2 burly dudes are holding something down. A familiar voice reaches your ears. Motherfuckers, you're gonna pay for this, you hear me? The boss is going to fuck you up so bad you have no idea. Have you had the doubtful pleasure of meeting Mr. Coteries before, Lamar? Yeah, we met yesterday. You're fucked. You're so fucked you don't even know it. You stupid piece of shit. I should have ended you yesterday. The boss told you to stay away. You should have listened. That's a story and a half, ain't it? Vince, calm down now and tell me how many of your guys are still out there on my turf, Go fuck yourself. You're done. The boss will know this stupid piece of shit fledgling came here. He knows they're with Langley. You know what that means, Torque. No, I don't. What does it mean, Vince? Now the boss can wipe you out. He'll just say you're sucking Langley's tits and all those buddies of yours gone. You're done, Torque. Well, now if that's the case, I guess written NYC of your toady ass won't make things any worse, will it? Actually, there's an idea. Vince mentioned that he beat you up yesterday. Did I hear that right, Lamar? You want to repay the favor? Gladly. Go right ahead. We're not really... I'm going with kind of like a good guy vampire, so we're just gonna hurt Vince. A lot. You hit Vince once, twice. He's chuckling in the beginning, but you focus your blood for some extra oomph and keep hitting him again, more, until he stops laughing. He's bruised, battered, and broken. The 2 Anarch dudes let go of him, and you kick him some more while he's on the floor. You only stop when you hear Torque's voice. Enough's enough, Lamar. He takes an old pool cue and breaks it over his knee. Stake him and take him downstairs. Let's keep Callahan guessing about what happened to his favorite puppy. Mia takes the sharp piece of wood and jams it into Vince's chest. His features grow slack, his entire body inert. He doesn't even give out a yelp. The other 2 Anarchs take him out of the room. As entertaining as that was, I think Vince, in his unmatched wisdom, shared more than Callahan would hope for. This changes things. Ever heard about Operation Lights Out, Lamar? It was a second Inquisition effort here in NYC, a single night of raids at a magnitude never seen before or since. The Ivory Tower got away with just a few losses here and there. No major players were hit. They managed to find safe spots and stay out of the eye of the shitstorm. Us, though, we got hit hard all over town. Havens were rooted out, entire coteries and safe houses gone, just like that. Nobody saw it coming. I barely got out in one piece. Mia looks at him with concern and puts a hand on his arm. He shrugs it off, gently but surely. Others, like my child Bob, or Mia's sire, extinguished. But you know who got out without a scratch? Callahan. We've thought about it the past few years. How has that big B managed to excuse himself from the Staten Island Museum where we used to meet just before vans full of guys in body armor showed up? How is it that as my baby is burning up after being shot with incendiary rounds, I also see Doug Callahan running with his tail between his legs, pushing fledglings like you in the path of the SI? We think the bastard knew what was coming, and he set us up. Not just us, some of our brothers and sisters who got hit had some of the lowest profiles in this city's lick-up population. The moral of the story, Callahan is an opportunistic motherfucker, and even his thickest followers suggest he's going to sell me out. Then that's what he's going to do, as sure as the sun rises. Pauses for a moment and you see him reach a decision. You said something about Langley having an offer for me. It might be your fault in part that I'm at this juncture, but now's going to be as good a time as any to listen to what she has to say.
I don't think that's wise, T.
Well, what would you have me do then?
You said it yourself. It's all this fledgling's fault. They brought this on us, so let's use them as a bargaining chip. Callahan wants them. Langley needs them. They're valuable.
Me? Valuable? I'm just a pawn. No, you're wrong. I'm just a pawn. That's why Sophie sent me here. Plausible deniability and all that. I'm expendable. The realization that you just summarized the entirety of the last 2 weeks or so hits you hard. But if there was a moment to be honest with yourself, it's now.
Fuck.
The man puts his hand on Mia's shoulder. She calms down a bit. We're afraid, Lamar. But then, what else is new? It's a paradox, being who we are. The hunter one night, the hunted another. Masters of the night, slaves to dawn. A duality to everything. Mia, I understand your concern, but I need you to trust me like you did before. This is my call and my responsibility. You can give me shit about it later, like I'm sure you will.
Count on it.
Smiles and takes on a no bullshit look and points at you. 3 conditions. First, you come pick me up, personally, and bring me to the meeting spot. Anything goes sideways, it's your ass. Second, Mia's coming with me. No 2 ways about it. 8 eyeballs in the meeting, 2 of you, the 2 of us, nobody else. And third, the meeting is in public, downtown, some spot frequented by mortals. We see you take us anywhere fishy, we check out, and fuck you up as a message to Langley. I count on it not coming to that, though. You seem likable enough. The KM hasn't gotten its talons in you yet. Keep it up, and maybe you'll come to the same conclusion we did in your own time. I'll repeat your conditions to Sophie. I'll make sure to repeat your conditions to Sophie. You do that. Best be on your way. Ask for me here when you need me. Bartender knows how to get in touch. Just ask him to put the owner on the line. Mia walks you to the door and accompanies you to your car.
Listen, about what I said before.
Yeah, what about it?
I panicked. That's all that was. It was unfair, and I said...
What am I doing with this accent? And I said, I need to take a sip of water. I'm going to restart this.
I panicked. That's all that was. It was unfair what I said. If anything is my fault, I'm angry with myself, and that makes me angry with you. Ah, forget it. See ya.
She starts walking back to the bar as you start the engine and head back to Sophie's apartment. Time to give Sophie the good news. She's welcomed you as openly as ever, clearly excited to see you and for what news you might bring. Good evening, Lamar. How is your task going? You have something for me, perhaps? I did what you it's done, but there'll be trouble. I did what you asked. The meeting's set up. I suggest we take advantage of it quickly, though. There's going to be trouble.
Trouble? What trouble?
Callahan forbade me from meeting Torque. Boss Callahan's goons grabbed me yesterday and forced me to meet with him. He was very clear that I cannot be seen talking to Torque, or he'll have me killed. I went and did it anyway.
I appreciate your dedication. I really do. I'm sorry if you got hurt. Thank you for following through. Well, let's hear it. What did Torque agree to?
You relay the Anarch's leader's conditions. You are to pick him and Mia up. The meeting should only include the 4 of you, and it should be held in a public space.
Those are all fair enough, although I do worry about that Mia character. Tell me, do you think she's trustworthy?
Torque trusts her. Well, Torque trusts her, so we can too, I think.
Very well. As for the place, I wonder if they would agree to meeting in Hudson Yards, the vessel. Plenty of tourists visit that place, but if we go there after midnight...
She seems to have made up her mind.
Yes, bring them there tomorrow night. Look for me near the top level.
Tomorrow so soon? Tomorrow already? I don't think they're expecting me back so soon.
Yes, tomorrow, for reasons that shall be made obvious when we talk. Pick them up at midnight, then drive back to Midtown. That's the plan. I'll be waiting as long as it takes, within reason. I'm counting on you, Lamar. The final puzzle piece is about to find its way to its destination. After that, we can all get our just reward. You, me, the Camarilla, even the Anarchs. I could kiss you.
Yes, you'd like that. You desire it. She must have caught it in your expression. She smiles.
A figure of speech, darling. Or at least it is tonight. But a few nights from now, who knows? I am growing fond of you, and success whets my appetite for these kinds of things.
The sexual tension in the room becomes unbearable until it suddenly disappears. Was this another one of Sophie's tricks, or an actual spark of arousal in both of your undead bodies? You certainly felt the blood flow through you for a short moment. The warmth in your groin takes you by surprise. You didn't think you could do that anymore. Or did you just imagine it?
Use the rest of this night well, Lamar, and rest. We are but a day's sleep away from shaking this city awake.
Alright. Let's do the scarred one. Upon returning to your haven, you find a small scrap of paper lying on your windowsill. Need a favor. If you're still up for it, come meet me in Prospect Dam. Once again, you cross the gate of Prospect Park and head straight for where you last saw the feral duo. Minutes pass. Finding no sign of Tamika, you begin to worry that something might have happened to her. Suddenly, you hear rustling coming from the nearby bushes, and it's not the stray cat kind of rustling either. Tamika? The rustling stops, if only for a second. Suddenly, the bushes part, and Raoul, I suck at these types of names, walks out. Sorry. Desperately trying to look confident. You wish. Listen, I wanted to have a word before Tam gets here. She seems to like you for whatever strange reason, but the way I see it, you're a nuisance at best. At worst, you're a threat. You don't like me. Got it. I get it. You don't like me. Forgive me if I don't lose any sleep over it. You should be, because when I don't like someone, I do something about it, and it's usually not pleasant. Tamika is my sister, in every sense of the word that counts. Anything happens to her that I find even remotely your fault, I'm coming after you. Is that clear? Crystal. I'll just say... I'm not your enemy. I'm not your enemy, or Tamika's. I don't think you understand. I don't give a fuck what you think you are. And what I'm saying is, if anything happens to Tamika, I'm holding you accountable. All of a sudden, the sound of footsteps reaches your ears. It's just faint enough to not be ostentatious. but still loud enough to hear. You can tell whoever's approaching wants to make their presence known. Both of you and Raoul turn just in time to see Tamika emerge from behind an old sycamore tree. It's hard to tell just how long she's been listening in on your conversation. In any case, she walks up and speaks, addressing no one in particular. Did I miss anything? Nothing important. Nothing too important. We were just having a chat. Where are you now? She gives Raoul a scornful look, like she's about to rub his nose in his own crap. What about? Nothing. You know where to look for me, Dan. Sure do. And with that, Raoul takes his leave. Tamika waits in silence, just long enough to make sure he can no longer hear her, and addresses you. I have a favor to ask. What is it? I have an errand to run. I was hoping you'd come with me. And there's a place east of here. It's a short walk. We should be back in about 2, maybe 3 hours. Wait, we're walking? As in on foot? In New York City? I don't like cars, alright? They remind me of old times. Before I became this. It can be distracting. So, can we go? Sure, let's go. Sure, we can go now if you're ready. Well, alright. And so you head toward the parking lot, accompanied by Tamika and a lot of unanswered questions. The reason why I don't press characters for why we're doing something is sometimes I don't like it when I need someone's help and they press me. Because, you know, sometimes it's really personal. And you just really need help. So over time, though, usually when people don't press me, I grow to trust them a bit more, you know? So I'll tell them. Because in the end, I am an honest person. And I feel like she's an honest person, and if she wants to tell me, she'll tell me. So that's why I'm choosing this. I don't know why I have to explain myself to Internet Land, but I am explaining myself, Internet Land. And so you head toward the parking lot, accompanied by Tamika, and a lot of unanswered questions. Following Tamika's directions, you finally arrive at the Evergreen Cemetery, one of the oldest burying grounds in Brooklyn. You enter through the southwestern gate and follow your companion through the sea of tombstones. It's a nice enough place, as far as graveyards go, much less homogenized than the usual flat field littered with identical markers. Tamika confidently presses on, swerving and weaving along a pre-programmed path. It's clear that she's been here more than a few times. Finally, she makes a sharp left and comes to a sharp left. I'm gonna reread it. Finally, she makes a sharp left and takes a few more steps down a gravel walkway, coming to a sudden stop in front of a modest headstone. The inscription reads, Luca Santiago, beloved sister and daughter, born 1991, taken from us too soon. With her eyes fixed on the gravesite, she lets out an absent-minded utterance. I need a moment alone. Not for long. 5 minutes at most. You look around in search of a good spot to wait for her and pass the time. At the far end of a nearby lawn, you notice a lone bench situated under a weeping willow. Suddenly you hear voices, distant but slowly approaching. Judging by the tone and timbre? I don't know this word. Timbre? You're guessing it's a couple of teenagers, out to get their late-night kicks among the dearly departed. Might be a good chance to feed. And then again, you could just pass the time walking around the area. It's actually quite nice in a dark and somber kind of way. Oh, we're gonna eat these teenagers! Take your time. I think I'll go grab myself a drink. Just do it quietly. I don't want any trouble. Not here. You leave Tamika alone and follow the voices. Soon enough, you come upon a couple in their late teens. Judging by the thick eyeliner on their clothes, consisting mostly of black leather and lace, you'd venture a guess that they'd love nothing more than to meet an actual vampire. You're happy to oblige. As you emerge from the shadows, you can feel your all intensified. That was hard to read for some reason. The boy and girl watch you, completely awestruck, waiting for you to approach. The slightest gesture is enough to shoo the boy away. He sits on a nearby bench and watches, completely enamored, as your lips press against the girl's neck. It's a weird sensation to feel actual honest-to-God pride in a victim's blood, but here you are. She's glad to have been chosen in this way. You decide there's no good reason to discriminate and also take a sip from the guy. His BO is pretty terrible, but the taste of his blood isn't half bad. Hoping the teens' post-kiss days will make your face just an impression in their memory, you leave them on the bench, just as they let their excited hormones run wild and start making out furiously. You half expect Equator to materialize, sword in hand, to deal with these loose ends, or with you, for leaving them to roam like you did. You'll need to be more careful in the future. Finally, you get back to the tree and find Tamika sitting on the bench. Without a word, you sit next to her. You look over to her, doing your best not to stare. She looks down, crossing her arms and putting her hands on her shoulders. In an instant, the ferocious savage disappears, replaced by a vulnerable young woman. I think I'm done. Who was she? Luca, huh? So who was she? A sister and a friend. Sorry, I'm being monosyllabic again, aren't I? She looks away. You can tell she's struggling to open up to you, so you remain silent, trying not to make her uncomfortable. I was embraced not far from here, in this cemetery. A fitting spot, I suppose. It was close to a decade ago. I've been on the road for a couple years at that point, hitchhiking from one town to another. New York was supposed to be just another stop. And then I met Jezebel. She was strong, smart, independent. Seemed like someone I could trust. Someone I could get close to. She never made me feel inadequate or ashamed. And she could hold her own in a fist fight, too. Funny thing, though, she only wanted to meet during nighttime. I didn't think much of it. Even came up with excuses for her. Busy, eccentric, whatever worked. Until one night, she sank her teeth into my neck. She's still around? You keep using the past tense. I take it she's no longer around? She's not dead, if that's what you're asking. At least, not that I know of. She left soon after turning me. I think the Conclave of Prague really shook her up. Conclave of Prague? Wait, the Conclave of what now? Prague. It's a city in Central Europe. It was supposed to be neutral ground. Good place to discuss politics and strategy. It ended up almost turning into a civil war. Next thing you know, the anarchs were expunged from the Camarilla. All they had done for our kind, the blood they spilled, it didn't amount to a thing. I can't blame Jezebel for feeling betrayed. But yeah, even though I still had Raoul and Luca, I was still furious and terrified. Luca died a few years later. Operation Lights Out. They called it... Oh, I read that totally wrong. I'm so sorry, Tamika. This is a really deep moment, and I fucked that one up. That's on me. Let's redo. Luca died a few years later. Operation Lights Out, they called it. It was a coordinated assault by the Second Inquisition. A genocide, by any other name. My family got together, bought up a plot and buried an empty casket. I guess they wanted some closure. Can't fault them for that. Even though she's not really here, I like to come and visit from time to time. It reminds me of who I am, keeps me in check, keeps the beast at bay. Also, this being the place of my embrace, you have to appreciate that level of irony. She straightens up and looks at you as if something just occurred to her. Sorry. I don't know what came over me. One minute I'm all grunts and stares, the next I'm giving you my biography. I guess I'm just tired of being scared, alone. You don't have to be alone. I used to think so, but those were simpler times. At this point, I'm just looking for something to believe in, someone I could give a damn about. I don't know if I know her well enough to say you have me. She has Raoul, though. I'll say you have me. Fuck it. You got me, for for whatever it's worth. She looks at you. Her mouth drops open, ever so slightly. You can tell she wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I do, don't I? You open your mouth, but before you can make a sound, Tamika motions at you to keep quiet. She lifts her head and sniffs at the air. Her ears perk up and her eyes widen. Suddenly, she pushes you with all her strength, sending you flying off the bench. Before you even hit the ground, an immense shape flies into view and smashes down into the bench, splintering it into pieces. With the blood surging through your veins, you pounce onto your feet. You look at the massive fur and muscles that just nearly pulverized you. The creature rears its head, gives you a deranged stare. It then turns to Tamika. She seems utterly terrified, frozen in place as if she literally just saw a ghost. You notice the creature shift its weight, as if preparing to pounce. Let's push her out of the way. With your reflexes greatly enhanced, you're able to get over to Tamika and push her out of the monster's way. You both land safely on the grass, while the beast flies through the air and smashes face first into a marble headstone. The creature then turns towards you. For a second or two, it moves its mouth awkwardly, as if trying to remember how to form words.
Stay out my ground.
The creature runs off toward... Yes?
You want a hamburger tonight?
Sure.
Okay, it'll probably be half hour or so before I cook it.
Okay. The creature runs off toward a nearby clearing, when all of a sudden a gunshot sends it tumbling onto the ground. A group of well-armed men in body armor emerge from the shadows in an orderly formation and move in closer around the creature. Retreat and hide. Not sure what to make of what's happening, you figure it's best to get out of sight. As you start backing away into the nearby bushes, you notice Tamika following your lead. From the relative safety of the thick foliage, you watch in silence as the group of armed men subdue the creature using steel nets and cattle prods. In the corner of your eye, you catch Tamika looking away as if she finds this whole spectacle somehow distasteful. She speaks under her breath, her voice shaking. Can we get out of here? You see no reason to object. The walk back turns out to be a quiet and somber experience. You both walk in silence, the city a blur of lights and cars careening by. You look over to Tamika. She seems lost in her thoughts. Finally, you decide to break the silence. Any idea who those guys were? They looked like they knew what they were doing. They did. They spend their whole lives either training or hunting our kind. They're the Second Inquisition. It's been a while since I saw them operating in New York. I would never expect them to go after the Sacred One, or the Scarred One. Hell, until today I wasn't even sure he existed. The Scarred One? That's the only name he's known by. He's a cautionary tale for young Gangrel. He's what happens when you let the beasts take over. I always figured him to be more of a metaphor. Seeing him in real life, it's like if Christian just happened to run into Judas Iscariot? I cannot say that. I know who... I don't know. Okay, sorry guys. I don't know how to say this word. This is the person's name. Judas Iscariot. Whatever, one day. Iscariot? Riot? Iscariot? Riot? Iscariot? I don't know. Iscariot? I don't know. And seeing him hunted down by the SI, I don't know what to think. I don't even know where to start thinking. Deciding to give her some space, you spend the rest of the walk in silence. Soon enough, the familiar tree line of Prospect Park comes into view. You stop by the entrance nearest to Tamika's haven. She keeps walking without so much as a word or glance in your direction. She stops after several paces and turns back towards you. I'm sorry. Thank you for coming with me. But now I have a lot of shit to figure out. Once I do, I'll let you know. And with that, she just disappears among the trees. Seeing no point in sticking around, you take your leave. You wake up. This is not your haven. It's a cramped space. You try to move your arms and find they are tied to your body. You can barely bend your legs. When you try to stretch your neck, you hit a cold ceiling. Can't quite believe it, but this is a coffin, or something close enough to it. It vibrates slightly, but you can't hear any sounds coming from outside. It's entirely dark. Let's sharpen our senses. You focus and divert your blood to boost your senses. You begin to deduce some details. The vibrations mean you're in some kind of transport. Maybe a car. You can just hear the suggestion of an engine's hum. The cold interior is metal for sure. More sounds that you try to focus on. A male voice, indistinct, the crackle of a radio, the brakes of the car, an impact, the container jostles about. The car door opens violently. You hear a gun being cocked, a panicked scream. Operation compromised, engaging blank bodies. Wait, what the hell happened? A deafening shot rings in your ears. Dazed, you return your senses to their normal levels. The ringing continues. The lid comes off. What the? We found you. Oh shit. Do we have them? Come on, get up. We gotta get going. Seeing their faces is surprising, even more so in these circumstances. However, you realize the immediate danger and follow your companions out of the car and down a street in North Bronx. The van has crashed into another car. A familiar face that a Kaiser's ghoul Jackie stumbles out of the wrecked sedan and slinks away into the darkness before you can call after him. The three of you jog away toward the line of trees and take shelter under some branches, just as you hear a chopper approaching. Its searchlight illuminates the wrecked van and moves towards you. Hide! Now! You see Tamika literally go underground, melding with the earth beneath her feet as if she was being swallowed up. You look to Agathan, who seems to be fiddling with a pocket mirror. He breaks it and suddenly disappears from sight. You're left alone with just seconds to make your move before the spotlight finds you. Let's dash deeper into the park. You take off before the light can reach you. In just a single dash, you find a small overgrown mound beneath an old tree. You realize you didn't have to run that far. The searchlight passes through where you were standing just seconds ago, but doesn't actually reach much further into the park. The helicopter flies on, its searchlight frantically moving through the vicinity as your companions once again appear in your proximity. Close call. We have to get out of here before the SI puts boots on the ground. Wait, the SI? What do they have to do with anything? Agathan, fill them in while we walk. Follow me. The Second Inquisition. They raided your haven, immobilized you, and were planning on taking you upstate to a secure facility for further examination, I'm guessing. Kaiser let me know that you were in trouble. Kaiser organized this? Why? Kaiser organized this whole effort? Why would he do that? Maybe your patron asked him for help. I'm sure she figured out that you're in trouble. Okay, our ride is here. Stay low. I guess I might still be around. Kaiser's familiar car stops nearby and the back door opens. Your allies usher you inside and join you. Being inside this mobile fortress never felt like a relief until now.
Hey, fledgling. Miss me?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, I kinda did.
Ah, that's so sweet. I hate to break it to you, but I didn't take a sudden liking to you. I'm here on business. You're here now only because I told your buddies that you were neck deep in shit. That van you were in? A one-way ticket to Hurtville, Pennsylvania. I broke you out as a favor. Now you owe me big.
How did you know? How the hell did you know the SI broke into my haven and took me away?
Is that a piss-poor attempt at an insult, fledgling? I've kept eyes on you ever since that little job you did for me in Nolita. You know, in case I needed you for something else. I had to know your comings and goings. I have a good idea of why this SI hit you, Lamar. Not that there aren't tons of good reasons for it. It might have been one of these, for instance.
The screens in Kaiser's car flicker, and each of them now shows a short, little looped clip. It's you, getting into a fight, feeding, using one of your powers. Oh, shit.
You haven't exactly kept a low profile, fledgling. I get it. You're new to this. You didn't know better, yada yada yada. The fact is, the SI has tons of this stuff. Security camera footage, YouTube videos posted by onlookers, social media posts from victims, you name it. Like I said, though, I don't think any one of these did you in. Slip-ups happen. The reason I need you walking and talking to Mars is a test, a hypothesis of mine. For that, I need you to finish what you were tasked to do. So first things first. Here.
He hands you a phone. The number has already been dialed. You hear the tone. Somebody picks up. Who is this? It's me, Sophie. It's me, Sophie. Lamar, are you okay?
They're fine and dandy.
Kaiser, what are you doing on this line?
What do you think? It's my phone your protege is using, so keep it snappy. Operating a secure network ain't cheap. Come on, Lamar, spit it out.
Kaiser saved me from the SI. Kaiser saved me from the Second Inquisition, Sophie. I only got out because of him. Your companions look at one another dejectedly. I'm sorry! Oh no! SI, that's what I feared. Listen, the plan. We need to do it tonight. But if the Inquisition is involved and you broke out, they'll be looking for you, so we can't meet in public. I have a place in mind, but Kaiser, are you still listening?
Well, I told you. Would I tell you if I wasn't?
Lamar, call this number from where you visited before last we spoke. I'll come pick you up. She hangs up.
And that's that.
What is it you've gotten yourself into? I'm more interested in what our next move is.
Your next move is keeping your asses seated in this luxury vehicle while our mutual acquaintance continues with their night. If my intel is worth a damn, your next stop, Lamar, is right about here.
The car comes to a stop and the door is open. Outside you see the street leading to Solids and Stripes, Torque's pool pub.
Well, you need me to kick you out?
What about my companions? What about Tamika and Agathan?
What about them? They're staying right where they are, and we're gonna have a little chat. After we're done, I'm sure they'll find their way back to their haven just fine. The clock is ticking. I think I know what Sophie wants to do tonight, and if I'm right, tonight's the last chance you've got. If you want to say bye to your buddies before you go, that's fine by me. But that schedule of yours is pretty hectic, so you better do it now and scram.
I'll thank them. You thank both of your companions for their assistance. Without them, you wouldn't be here now. Kaiser makes a gagging gesture and urges you to step out of the car. You turn around and make your way to the bar. The door closes behind you and Kaiser's limo starts moving again. You hope your companions won't have to pay too high of a price for helping you. The Solids and Stripes is pretty much abandoned tonight, with only the bartender and one bleary-eyed local watching an old Bogart movie on the bar's screen. You ask to use the phone and call Sophie first. Yes? I'm at the bar. Good. We'll be there in 15 minutes. If Torque's not there, notify him. We need to move in fast. She hangs up. You tell the bartender to notify Torque, just like the Anarch leader mentioned you should. The man makes a short call. You only hear somebody picking up, but no words exchanged. The owner's on his way right now. Can I get you anything while you're waiting? No, thank you. The bartender nods politely and gets back to his business. Torque comes in some 10 minutes later without Mia. He tips his hat to you, puts a hand on the blurry-eyed patron soldier, and says something to him under his breath. They both laugh. My, how's the night going? Quiet, sir. Just how you like it, huh? Well, Lamar, I believe you wanted me here for a reason. Let's hear it. You're about to tell him what brought you here when the doors to the bar open and Sophie walks in, all splendor and charisma. The patron's eyes are now glued to her, and so are the bartenders. Torque isn't happy with the sight. Well, this isn't what we agreed on, Lamar. Care to explain? We had to improvise. Things got complicated. We had to improvise. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I believe Lamar already told you why I'm here. Not in any detail, and the circumstances of our meeting were supposed to be different. So, Miss Langley, tell me why I shouldn't ask you to leave and kick your protege while I'm at it. You will like what I have to say. Yeah, I've heard that line 100 times, but 99 of those ended with somebody getting hurt. And that's not something I'm in the mood for tonight. We are wasting time. There's a unique opportunity we would take advantage of, and we only have an hour or so to discuss it before it will be time to act. My driver is waiting outside. Wait a goddamn minute. First of all, I'm not going anywhere without Mia. That was the deal. Second, it's Lamar who's supposed to do the driving, not your servant. Both serve me, so really it's of little difference. The circumstances changed and we had to adapt. Don't be stubborn. Foolishness does not suit you. I have a secure spot in mind where we can talk. I'll stop you right there. Torque is seething, but he's keeping a lid on his anger. His voice barely changes. My conditions were clear. The way I hear it, you want to break each one of them. I see no reason at all to agree of any of this. I believe you will be staying put tonight. You have places to be, yes? Torque, you're throwing away the only chance you have at challenging Callahan. Don't be a fool. The lid comes off. Call me a fool one more time, woman, and that's not the only thing I'm going to be throwing. Sophie, Torque's right. This does sound like a setup. I wouldn't trust you either in this situation. You dare! She slaps you fast, hard. The sound reverberates in the mostly empty bar. Torque smiles. See, Lamar? That's the cam in a nutshell. You obey them to the letter, and they put you in your place. It's Sophie who's seething now. I don't have any more time for this charade. Fine, stay here, both of you, if that's what you want to do. What I was thinking, risking my reputation for you, Lamar. Shots break the front windows and a flashbang goes off in the room, changing the bar into a space of white light and ringing noise. You feel somebody tugging at your back and are thrown behind the bar. More shots ring out. Bottles break. The TV shatters into pieces. The wooden bar splinters. Your sight comes back, but you think you've gone deaf. Because suddenly the room is silent. You see Torque beside you and Marty, the bartender, bleeding out on the floor. You look over the bar. Sophie is standing there, her dress partially tattered, a visible hole in her leg. She is like the heart of a supernova, entrancing, unavoidable, beautiful, and terrifying. In front of her are 8 operatives, looking like a private military force just standing there, paralyzed by Sophie's magnificence.
Torque, you still there?
Yeah.
Would you kindly show your guests some hospitality?
Sure thing. The Anarch is gone in a blink of an eye, and he reappears next to one of the soldiers. The armor-clad operative's head disappears in a puff of blood and bone. The same thing happens to the second, the third. You hear the radios go off on the other's soldiers' shoulders. A panicked voice pleading them to wake up. The 4th head pops, the 5th. They finally realize what's happening, but it's too late. The 6th man is beheaded by what you now see as just Torque's bare-fisted punch. Torque stops by the 7th man, rips something off his neck and bites down. Sophie walks over to the last man and has him kneel in front of her before biting as well. On your right, a man in full body armor emerges from the back door, raising his assault rifle. What the fuck? Disarm him. With a rush of speed, you take hold of the soldier's gun. He's too surprised to hold on to it. You turn it on him and shout the first thing that comes to your mind. On the ground, now! A combat knife crashes through the shoulder's visor and into his skull. You turn around. Torque is grinning. He mouths something under his breath. You can hear the exact words. Still got it. Langley? Sophie wipes her mouth of blood and looks at him. That meeting's still an item. Yes. I'll take it. Splendid. Torque walks behind the bar and checks on the bartender. You see the Anarch open his own wrist and feed the blood to the wounded man. Drink up, Marty. It'll make you feel better. Get the hell out of here and wait for Mia. She's coming. She'll know what to do. I don't know why I gave him Sophie's voice. I just gave him Sophie's voice.
Torque.
Yeah, coming. Take the back door, Lamar. Come on. You slink back into the alley behind the bar, leaving 10 bodies and one grievously wounded ghoul behind. Nobody stops you from circling around the block and finding your way to Sophie's car. Gregory drives away casually, as if this was just another late-night drive, and not the crowning of a desperate, complicated evening. The sense of irony is just overwhelming. The place where Sophie brought Torque turns out to be the very same apartment in which you were embraced. The way she explains it, the vampire who owned it left the city a few years ago and gave away spare keys to a few trusted compatriots. It's been used sporadically since. Fancy. You like it? It always felt too modern for my taste. But what's important is that it's secure. As long as nobody followed your car here, or the fledgling, trouble follows this one wherever they go. Even if that's the case, we have very little time to conduct our business here anyway. And we'll be leaving soon, I hope. So let's begin. Stay silent. You look at Sophie excited. Finally, you will learn what it is that you've been working towards for more than a week. And what is it that Kaiser wanted you to participate in? I have it on good authority that Boss Callahan is blood-bound to Prince Panhard. Torque sucks air in loudly. That's an accusation and a half there, Langley. Got proof? No, but we're just a boat ride away from getting it. What is that supposed to mean? Lamar, the address that I procured from Kaiser was the meeting spot for Panhard's and Baron's regular sharing of blood and other bodily fluids. If the rumors are true... Wait, Kaiser knew about this? Is there anything that insufferable clump of dead skin doesn't know in this city? He knows things, but only shares them if you pay. Neither the prince nor Callahan can touch him. He's too useful. Kaiser said saving me was in his interest. So Kaiser said something about having plans for me, that he wanted me to make this meeting happen. That can't be good, right? That's an interesting point. I think Kaiser might be as interested in shaking up the status quo as we are. A chaotic landscape makes for a great market for him, unlike a static one. I don't like playing into that creep's hands, but at least now I know that I'm doing it. The devil you know and all that. What was the address he gave you? They meet regularly on Ellis Island. In fact, their next scheduled meeting starts in just around half an hour. Hot damn, I'm guessing you want to crash that meeting. Why? So you can see the proof for yourself. So that I can make sure, too. And so that I have an extra pair of eyes for Panhard to consider when I present her my ultimatum. The prince must abandon her seat and leave New York City. She can go wherever she pleases. But if she stays, the entire court will know. And the next prince might not look favorably on her past. Dealing with anarchs, especially so closely, is as punchable offense in a can Marilla, as I'm sure you've heard. So I did. Torque strokes his beard and looks intently at Sophie. What exactly are you trying to accomplish here? Say you remove Panhard and I remove Callahan. Then what?
Torque, did you ever wonder why Callahan's keeping you in check? Because I wondered why the prince condemns anarchs during her visits to Elysium. but doesn't allow the ivory tower to challenge you. She, or they, have engineered this status quo not for the good of their sex, but for private gain. They keep us all in line because it lets them hold on to power that much longer.
And your goal is what? Make this Cold War turn hot? Not a great plan. You cammies will get your butts kicked out of NYC in no time. If you anarchs manage to organize, which I doubt you will, at any rate, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I don't stand alone in this. This entire operation has been years in the making. Torque, I am offering you a chance to square things with Callahan and level the playing field. If we get rid of these two, we can start on equal footing at the next stage of this dance macabre. Why am I here listening to this? Sophie, why am I here? I understand you needed me to set this meeting up, but why am I listening to all of this?
It's a precaution. In a way, it's a shame the Zamia you told me about did not make it in time to listen to this too.
I can still call her, but it'll probably be an hour before she gets here.
We can't wait that long. You will have to suffice, Lamar. I am risking the prince's or even Callahan's wrath.
Well, I don't think they would dare to lay a finger on me. Another set of eyes to watch over the meeting can't hurt.
And I did promise I would explain everything in time, didn't I?
You know, after all these years spent in Callahan's shadow and taking part in all the Kindred's dick-measuring contests, I should expect a ruse, some ploy to kill me in an out-of-the-way place. That's our inherent paranoia talking. My gut tells me it's time to get this show started. I do hope you have a boat nearby, Langley. Sophie smiles mischievously.
Of course I do. It's waiting for us by the pier.
Lead the way then. Moonlight's burning. The three of you leave the apartment and walk toward the pier. Nobody seems to be following you. You get on a small patrol boat and double time it through the Hudson's cold, dark waters. And that is where we're going to leave tonight's episode.